everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. I'm Rachel, and I'm so excited today to bring you another interview from a new and upcoming Hallmark talent that I was so excited by her recent role in True Love Blooms. We are talking to Amy LoCicero. So thanks so much, Amy, for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. Hello, everyone. Hi, all you Hallmarkies out there.
Yes. This is so much fun to get to talk with you. And what we like to do on our podcast is we like to ask our guests to introduce yourself and tell us what inspired you to become an actress.
Well, my name is Amy LoCicero. And I guess, I always loved movies growing up. So we'll start there, which I think what happens to a lot of people that become actors. But it didn't become acting kind of till later on. I just had this fascination with movies and kind of the behind the scenes of how they were made. And so back in the day, I was a gymnast for a little bit, and I wanted to do like stunt performing in movies. That was like my idea back then. And I think my mother prayed that out of me because she's like, Lord, please, no, let her not be going through fires and being blown up in movies and film. So I moved on to watching like a lot of special effects video. Like there used to be a thing on, I think it was like Discovery Channel, it was like behind the scenes and how they used to make stuff. And I'm in the Central Florida area. So at Universal Studios, they have this backlot, or they used to kind of do a lot more of how things are made and how they add the audio effects into movies, and how they used to build little models of things, and then they would like blow up the building or the town, and they would film it like that. And then that's how they'd film it in like slow motion, and then they'd make it look like it was a real building blowing up or city streets. And I used to want to do that. And then I'm glad I didn't, because that's all like CG now. So I would be out of a job. I would not have a place doing that. And then I got into wanting to do special effects and makeup, like kind of monster makeup, or just, like all that kind of stuff. And then as I got prissier, it became a regular makeup artist. And then it kind of just evolved. It was always something to do with movies. And it kind of became acting a little bit later on, more towards when I was in high school, which kind of made sense because I grew up like putting on puppet shows for the neighborhood kids. And I used to like create script from my Amelia Bedelia books. And
no way, I love Amelia Bedelia.
Yeah. Of course, my sister and I would put on plays for my parents. So it kind of always was acting, but I didn't know it was that. I just had this fascination with movies, and then got involved in doing drama and TV production in high school, and just started doing commercial work. And I didn't get discovered in a coffee shop. You just do it. It's definitely a marathon, not a sprint. So you just do a little bit and a little bit more, and leads to the next thing, leads to the next level, the next role, and so on and so forth. So
very cool.
That's pretty much how I got started.
Yeah. So were you in plays in high school?
Yes, I was never the lead. I was always in the ensemble. I love musical theater, but I am the worst singer ever. Really bad. And people are like, no, you're really not that bad, because I can sing. There's like 3 notes in my range. And when I hit those, people will be like, see, you can sing. Oh, no, never mind. That was bad. Yeah, so I really have no range. I can't sing very well. So musical theater was not going to happen for me. But I was happy to be in the ensemble and watch the other actors. And, there was like a saying by, I think it was Harrison Ford when he got to LA, like, you just have to last longer than the people you rode the bus in with or whatever. And I was like, it's kind of like that, people get distracted, they move on to other things. And again, it's the marathon. So if you stick with it and you're committed, you can find success. So that's good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the thing. You just gotta, if you're trying to make it as a working actor, it's just the daily grind. You just got to keep going.
It is. And you have to find joy in the journey. If it's just about the end result for you, there isn't really an end result. There's always the next role, the next thing, the next like level that you're trying to get to. You have to really love it. You have to love storytelling, because there's a lot of grind, as people can imagine, you have a job until it ends, and then you don't have a job anymore. So it's like constantly going on job interviews, which is usually the worst part for people when they're trying to get a new job, but it's that kind of constantly. So you have to find fun in creating and storytelling and even the audition process, or else it'll get at you. So I try to always have fun with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and just try to get something new out of every experience. Try to learn something. So that totally makes sense to me. And I mean, I think whatever career that you do has that kind of daily grind. I mean, even people that you think have the most glamorous job to ever exist, like someone say is I don't know, a professional basketball player or something like that. You think, oh, that's so fancy, but in the end, they grind it out every day. They do the same thing every day.
Yes,
That's just the nature of
exactly.
work.
Yes, people see the highlights and they think that's amazing. I want to do that thing, and you're like, if you saw all the behind the scenes, you might not want to do that thing, but it's worth it. But it's very true. A lot of people don't see what it takes to get to a certain spot, or just anything in life. Even I feel like that with everyone's Facebook feeds, we give each other all of the highlights of our life,
Yeah.
and what's really going on is something totally different. And we're all guilty of that. We all do that to each other, and it's the behind the scenes that, but everyone's working hard in whatever they're doing.
Yeah. So what shows were you in high school?
So we did a show called Little Me. We did a Shakespeare one. I was a fairy. So I had 2 lines. I was so excited I got this role. Oh my gosh, the Shakespeare play is eluding me. It's super famous. I will think of it. It's with the fairies and the blossoms.
Oh,
And
Midsummer's Night Dream.
yes, thank you, Midsummer Night's Dream. So I auditioned for one of the lead fairy people, but I didn't get it. So I booked the role of this other fairy. I don't know. This was my first speaking role, and they hand out the big thick scripts, and I'm ecstatic. I have my first speaking role, and I'm flipping through it and I'm reading, trying to find my character. And I finally find the role Peas Blossom that I was playing, and I said, I think 2 words, and I frantically threw the rest of the script, and there was nothing else. I said 2 words. But you know what? I was like, I'm going to say those 2 words the best. But yeah, so that was my first speaking role play. That one was non-musical, so I could actually talk in that. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't have to sing. So so that was good. And Little Me was a great play, and not a lot of people do that one, but the lead who played it, he does 6 different characters, the male lead in it. It's really great. It was a great show. That's cool. That one I was in the ensemble. So did you do any theater? Do you have a background? I feel like you do.
Yes, I'm always curious to hear what people do. Because I was in Bye Bye Birdie and The Wiz, which I think are both great for high schools because it has so many ensemble scenes, both of them do.
Yes.
So my sister was in Into the Woods, which is a great show, but it's not as good for high school because it doesn't have those ensemble scenes. Because I think with high school theater, as many people should be able to participate as possible.
Absolutely. Yeah, they have to get the experience. That's the thing is when you first start out with anything, you're gonna suck for a while.
Right.
And you get better at it. But people, it's funny because coming from an acting perspective, I feel like the crowds, you can't suck. If you say you want to be an actor, then you better come out of the gate, winning Oscars. But that's not how it works. If you actually watched how someone, some of the first independent films or student films I did, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm horrible. But that's useful. That's actually really useful because you go, wow, I really need to work on this, that, and the next thing. And then it inspires you to get into an acting class or whatever.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's this, they say every overnight success is a decade in the making.
Right. Yes. That is so true, because people are like, oh, this hot new actor. And you'll be like, I've been seeing them as like the best friend or just having a little part in like films for years.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's never an overnight success. But I
Hmm.
totally agree with you about the high school theater, because kids, they just need experience. And yeah, you want to, get on stage and just to have that whole experience. Even if you're just on the ensemble, it's better to be able to work as many people as you can.
Hmm. Yeah. I just think it's they need that little dip into what it's like, and once they get that excitement, because if you're just a show with just leads and there's no ensembles, then you're not going to inspire anybody new.
Yeah, exactly. And you can find different talent, as
Hmm.
you watch the kids work.
Right.
Um, yeah, and it's just more camaraderie. It's more
Mhm.
more fun, and more chance for people to
Yeah.
have smaller parts. I agree.
So, did you seem like a more of a comedic actress? And so I was wondering if you had sort of I was wondering if you had comedic actresses or comedians that were kind of your icons, people that you really think are funny that you
Oh,
admire.
that's a good. Well, thank you for thinking I'm funny. I love doing comedy, and I don't. There's not as much of it over this way, because I'm in the Southeast, so I'm in Florida.
Sure.
People don't think you can be an actor in Florida, but we tape auditions, and we send them to a lot of stuff that's happening in Atlanta, and there's stuff in North and South Carolina, in Louisiana. So we get a lot of stuff over here. A lot of it's drama, not as many like sitcoms and things are in, New York and LA. Unfortunately for me, who loves to do comedy. But yeah, growing up, I was pretty obsessed with Jim Carrey, and everything he did cracked me up. So Dumb and Dumber is definitely one of my favorite movies. It's just one of those that doesn't get old for me. If it's on TV, I watch it, and I find something new to laugh at every time. So
Mhm.
he's obviously super slapstick, but yeah, he was definitely somebody that made me laugh a lot. Um, and now it's, I don't know, different actors strike me in different ways. And I
Mhm.
guess I really have a bit icon right now that I love, but um, yeah, it's just
Mhm.
great it's more of the style of comedy is a little bit different. It's more
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
subtle, the way that things are changing.
Mhm.
Um, but yes, it's good. It's just great to make people laugh. There's nothing like it in the world. It's the best feeling.
I yeah, I love finding a good comedy, and just the one that are so timeless. Like I do love it, Dumb and Dumber. That that this that whole the whole like with the bird, the guy with the bird.
Yeah,
Like
right. And those moments where you're like, I'm horrible for laughing at this, but it's so funny.
yeah.
They're so great in that. It's so good. Jeff Daniels
Yeah.
and Carrie are brilliant in that. Yes, good stuff.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I guess he did the Dumb and Dumber sequel and the Three Stooges, but I would love for him to come out with a good a good comedy again, because I feel like he's done all this dramatic stuff, but it's been a while since he's been, I don't know, turning
They
himself into.
do that, don't they? They
Yeah.
want to step out of their box, and we're like, no, you will do comedy. We love it, but I mean, it's good to branch out. But yeah, you can't forget what people love so much about you. Give the people what they love.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying for a long time too about Sandra Bullock. It's like, you got
Yeah,
your Oscar, you've done all this dramatic stuff. We love you. Now come back to us, do a rom com, please.
yes, exactly. Yeah, that's I think why Hallmark movies are so popular. Thinking back on that is just because they're like lighthearted and fun and cute and funny. And I feel like as I get older, not that I'm ancient yet, but I want something like, life is life. So you want something that's, I feel like in my free time, I'm more likely to go to something lighthearted and fun at this stage in my life. I feel like before I used to watch like a lot of darker shows and a lot of, I used to watch like horror movies more. Not that I was in like a goth stage of my life or something, but I just don't know. Like that was more interesting to me at that time. And now I'm like, I just want something to take this, something upbeat and lighthearted and fun and funny. Yeah, like rom-coms are good all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just love. I mean, obviously, I host the Hallmarkies podcast. I love romantic comedies, but I don't know. I love movies like While You Were Sleeping. That one is one of the
Yes,
best of all time.
yes, yes, yes.
It's
I
so
like
good.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. That's
Yeah,
one of my ones I really like. She's adorable in that, Kate
yeah.
Hudson.
That one's really fun. That's one of the good I sort of wager ones. I've talked a lot about in this podcast that I think all romantic comedies are either trying to be Pride and Prejudice or Taming of the Shrew. And Taming of the Shrew is there's this bet like can you tame the cat Catherine, and I think that how to lose a guy in 10 days is totally one of those bet ones, one of those gimmick ones, and they're really hard to pull
Yes.
off because they can just feel super manipulative and forced. But I think that is one of the ones that works pretty well. I think it's pretty fun.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
I agree. That's a very interesting take.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I also really like, what was Sandra Bullock and Ryan Reynolds?
The Proposal.
Yes,
Yeah.
that one. I really like that one too. That
Yeah,
one.
that one's fun. Got your Betty White in it. You can't go wrong.
I know. She's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah.
So how old is she now? Man, I want to be a Betty White.
94 or 96 or something. She's pretty old.
Amazing.
She's old. And yeah, I mean, she's definitely a comedy icon. I mean, especially if you look at the difference between her character in the Mary Tyler Moore show as Sue Ann Nivens and Rose in Golden Girls are so different. Like, couldn't be more different. And she still finds the funny in all of them, in both of them.
Yes,
Yeah.
finding the funny, and that's useful for actors even when you're doing drama, to find those light moments and find the funny in a scene. I had a good acting teacher that once told me that, and I was like, that I do.
Yeah, definitely. So you had said something about you worked in makeup on some shoots and stuff. What was that?
I did not. I was thinking about doing that probably when I got prissy, somewhere around, I don't know, when do you get prissy? Maybe 8th grade. Oh, and I was like, oh, I was getting into makeup, and I was like, maybe I'll be a regular makeup artist. But
yeah,
good. It never happened, but it still is interesting to me. I'm the one on set when they're doing my makeup that's like, ooh, what's that? Oh, what product are you using? And I'm always looking at what, like, the technique and all of that. It's just so fun.
Yeah.
All of it's
good.
Yeah.
Pretty much
all of it's fun.
Learning about all the different sides of it, I think, would be really fun and interesting. And
you have so much respect for. There's so many artists on set, and it's funny because the term, like, on set, like, the actors are called the talent, and I always think that's funny because I'm like no one else here is talented. Like, I know they need a name for us, but I'm just like, well, like, even the guys doing the lighting are artists.
Oh, yeah.
And the wardrobe style, like, it's just a lot of creative people coming together to tell a story, and that's what I love about it. Really is.
It was funny at the Oscars. They were thinking of getting rid of some categories and stuff, and it was crazy to me because of all the things to pick, if you were going to get rid of categories, what they were going to get rid of cinematography. I'm like, what? And editing?
Gosh, I didn't hear that.
If you don't have a movie, if you don't have cinematography, I mean, I guess I could see maybe having the shorts on another night or something like that, although I wouldn't want that, but of everything, editing, are you crazy?
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was so funny. Like, they're nuts.
Bad choices all around.
Yeah. But luckily they changed their mind and decided not to do that. That was insane.
They decided those people are, kind of useful, so we'll keep them around. We'll give them an award, I guess.
So so you grew up, you watched Hallmark movies. There's something that you are pretty familiar with
beforehand. So this is funny, I really wasn't a Hallmark watcher, and I switched to, like, Sling TV, and I don't have, like, the channel.
Uh-huh.
So, but my mom is an avid Hallmark
Oh,
watcher.
fun. Yeah.
So when this was happening, she's like, you have to watch some Hallmark movies with me. So we did. We watched a couple, and I was like, what have I been missing out? Like, these are so cute. Yes, they're like fun and up there, the things that I love. I was like, they're lighthearted and cute and funny.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was I mean, I was thrilled when I
Yeah.
booked True Love Blooms, but she was ecstatic
Over the moon.
because she
Yeah.
was like, I've been praying for you to book a Hallmark movie. Not because she cares that much about my bookings, but just she wanted something cute and wholesome, you know. So I'm
Uh-huh.
going to be in the acting field,
Yeah.
which doesn't always come about for me. Some things are like, I can't audition for that. That's a little sketchy.
Yeah. You can tell all the
I get
ladies.
all kinds of different roles as a blonde, so you never know what's going to come at you. So this one was, I just loved it right off the bat.
Yeah. She can tell all her friends, like all other ladies at lunch. She would look, my daughter is in a Hallmark movie.
A Hallmark movie. My dad was telling his buddies at work, and so all of these men were forced to watch Hallmark movies with their wives, which has been the consensus of all my girlfriends. They're like, okay, I gotta get the hubby to watch it with me or whatever. It'll be an excuse because I know someone that's in it.
Yeah, they're probably like people that didn't understand where the film was made and everything are probably like, what was going on with Florida and True Love Blooms, the ratings?
Yes, it's been crazy. Yeah. Single-handedly. It was so great. I love that it was shot here in St. Pete. It's actually
Yeah.
close. Grew up in Clearwater. So I stayed over with my parents because it was like 30 minutes from where they're at.
Mm-hmm.
So that was really nice. So I brought my daughter over there. I have a 4-year-old daughter and my dog. We piled in at my parents' house.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was so good to have so many Florida actors in it, and just and the crew was all our people I work with for years. So it was great. It was really good.
Yeah. So they just have auditions down there in Florida, or how did you find out about it?
So they cast the 2 leads, Jordan Bridges and Sarah Rue, were obviously from LA. And I believe now I know they're regulars on the Hallmark
Well,
channel.
Sarah's done 2. And I think actually Jordan's just done 2 previous to that.
Oh, okay. So they're just starting their journey with Hallmark.
Do more. We like
yes, so.
do more.
Yes, that would be great.
Yes.
So they ended up, so they do that sometimes with films in general.
Sure.
They'll cast maybe some of the leads, and then some of the, if they can get local actors to play the other roles, they will, because it saves them money,
Sure.
etc.
Yeah.
So with this one, they intended to have pretty much, I think the one girl, Aisha, who played the best friend, she was from Atlanta, but everyone else was a Florida actor, which is awesome. So they did. So Lori Wyman is a casting director in South Florida, and she does a lot of the big TV shows and films that come through in the Miami area. And even here, she'll come up and cast. So we sent taped auditions, and then we had callbacks in St. Pete with the director, Matthew Diamond, producers, and Sarah Rue actually she was in LA still, but she was on FaceTime. So I walked into the audition room and I see her beautiful little head on an iPad. There was like one of the PA guys. A PA is a production assistant. They're kind of like an intern of set. So he's standing there quietly, holding an iPad, and I look and it's Sarah's face on it because she was FaceTiming with the audition. So that was so funny. I think that's the first time I have done a FaceTime callback, but I haven't walked into a room and had someone's face on an iPad. So I enjoyed it very much.
That is really funny. Yeah, I think this was her idea. I believe she took it to Hallmark.
She brought it's kind of a personal story of hers, and she brought it to a friend of hers who wrote it. And I think she was influential in, obviously telling of the story. And then and then she pitched it, and she was a producer on the film also. So she pitched it, as far as I understand, she pitched it to Hallmark, and they said, we love it, let's do it. So a lot of the Hallmark movies are filmed in Canada. So we were happy in Florida, and God willing, we will have more coming. They already are shooting a second Hallmark movie in the same in St. Pete. I know, like back-to-back ones. So that's exciting for us. We would love to be the new capital of Hallmark movies.
I know. Well, I mean, they're making one for every Saturday plus the mysteries. So it's very often 2 movies a week
It's
plus
crazy. I had
plus
no
yeah,
idea.
plus TV shows plus at Christmas. It's not unheard of for there to be 2 movies a week for each network. So 4 new movies, and then the week of Thanksgiving, there's a new movie every day.
Oh my
So
goodness. So you're exhausted. You're exhausted keeping up with all of
I
this.
know it really is.
I just saw an article that said that Hallmark was shooting 40 Christmas movies.
40 Christmas movies, yeah.
And I was like, that's nuts. And I was like, hey, not all of them have to be in snow. Someone can go for a beachy Christmas.
Yeah.
We can make a snowman out of sand at the beach.
Yeah.
You can do that here in Florida. We could grab one or two of those Christmas movies. People will be sick of the snow after a while. A girl can dream.
It is true that they I feel like the only network that has it has the warm weather Christmas, like that's a lifetime thing. Like they branch out into the sun for Christmas.
Everyone else has to be put in the Christmas spirit. Yeah, we don't get any of the snow here, any of the Christmas spirit. You just learn to have different Christmas spirit here in
like Lifetime had Christmas in Mississippi, and they had the one last year called Christmas Contract that was all set in Louisiana. So they're all kinds of crazy over there at Lifetime.
Like you cannot have Christmas if it's not Christmas looking.
That's right.
That's so funny. Hey, we might get a piece of that 40 movie pie. You never know.
Yeah. Plus, I mean, it's just crazy because there's 40 movies from Hallmark Christmas related. Plus, there'll probably be at least 20 from Lifetime this year, and then you have Netflix, who will do probably do 8 to 10 is my guess. And then you have other networks coming in trying to get in on the fun. I mean, last year there were 85 Christmas themed releases, including features, including everything. And I am proud that I saw every single Christmas related film and reviewed it on the podcast in some form or another, which was a Herculean effort. I don't know if I'll be able to pull it off this year, but they've given greasy.
And did you get your tree up and your presents on?
I did get a tree up, and
and people got gift cards because you're like, listen, people, I had 85 movies to watch.
Yeah, there were some Saturdays when I was watching 6 to 8 movies, just boom, 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 boom. And it's kind of an interesting experience because they're so similar that you kind of look back and you're like, why does one work and why does one not work? And it's so many different parts of it are so kind of ephemeral and just based on do they have chemistry, do they just stuff like that must be so frustrating for people planning films because you can have all of the pieces together and it's just not feeling it. And
yes, that is so true. It can. You think you have the right ingredients to bake this amazing cake, but one a little bit off and can ruin the flavor.
Yeah, but I saw a lot of party planning. There was a lot of party planning, a lot of we've got to save the Christmas store or the Christmas town or the Christmas. You gotta
a lot of heroism.
Yes. But my favorite of last year, if you like comedy, you should totally check it out. It's called Christmas Perfection. This was from Lifetime.
Okay.
Crossing networks. But I loved it. I thought it was so funny. It was about this girl who dreams of the perfect Christmas, but everything always goes wrong. And she makes a wish and she ends up waking up the next day in her Irish Christmas village. Like she has this little Christmas village, and she wakes up in the Irish Christmas village. It was actually filmed in Ireland. And what was cool about it was that it wasn't just her perfect Christmas because she can eat as much as she wants. She gets this, everything's very ideal. Her parents are together and
Aw.
happy and not divorced and everything. But yeah, so everyone in her life is behaving in the way she wishes they would behave. So it's like perfect in that sense as well. And so had actually quite a bit of heart to it because she has to kind of come to the realization that she loves the people for who they are, not who she wishes, these perfect versions of them. And
Aw.
it was so
That
funny.
is a good
Yeah,
message. Aw.
you should watch
Christmas
it.
perfection.
Christmas perfection. My favorite joke in the movie was she can't swear in Christmas land. Everything she says comes out as a Christmas thing. It made me laugh every time. She,
Oh, that's a good shtick. That's
yeah,
funny.
yeah. After she's like stub her toe or something, she'd be like, "Yeah, stocking stuffer, frosted fruit cake." That was hilarious.
Oh yeah, you can have so much fun with that. Oh,
Yes.
that's funny.
So I really enjoyed it. So I would check that one out. But anyway, it's an adventure. Christmas. I
That
sometimes
is
still like
so funny.
Christmas, even though. But but yeah. So
You'll be writing Christmas movies for Hallmark before you know it. I mean, you'll
yeah,
have all kinds of ideas. You
yeah.
should. You really
I
ought to.
definitely should. Yeah.
Hey,
So
and
they,
you know somebody that could be in it. You write a
uh,
Christmas one for Florida.
let's do it. Okay, good. So True Love Blooms, I thought that Marta in True Love Blooms was hilarious. I loved it. I thought
Oh
she
my
was
goodness,
so
thank you.
funny. When-
I thought she was so funny too.
Now, was any of this improv or was it all in the script?
It was in the script. It was
Okay.
funny. It was not even my fault. It was funny. I totally want to take credit, but from when I got the audition sides, which are the scene of script, we call them sides.
Yeah.
So they send us the audition, and I read the first. It was the scene where she's in his office, kind of the first scene we see her, the minimalism thing. And then their breakup scene, which actually in the movie got cut down significantly.
Oh, okay.
Um, but I feel like I cracked up as I was reading it, because I get a lot of auditions coming through, and I'm okay, all right, how many pages I got to learn, memorize this, or whatever. And I felt like I got Marta. Like I was like, oh, I get why this is funny, and the moments to bring something to make it, what's funny about it, and the way that she would say this, I could hear it in my head. Like I was just like, oh, I just get this. So I loved Marta from the get-go. I loved how she was written and just the idea of her.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had a fun taping it. My friend, he tapes it for me, and so he had some ideas. She was fun all the way around. So usually after I tape an audition, because there's a lot of ones you don't get. So you
Sure.
just move on. You're like, that was fun. We'll see what happens, but I'm not going to focus on it too much, on to the next one or the next thing the next
Uh-huh.
day. But Marta was I was just like, I really want to play Marta. I just
Uh-huh.
really want to be this character because I love her so much. She cracks me up. Like, she's ridiculous. And I love that. She has like no self-awareness. Like, she's one of those great characters that they think they're really self-aware, but they're not.
Yeah.
And she's obviously a horrible designer, but she's so confident.
Yeah.
I'm like, I wish everyone needs confidence like Marta. Maybe a little more skill at what they do, but like, her level of confidence is just brilliant. So she was already written funny, and I just had fun with her, basically.
It was so funny. I thought just the the minimalism. There's just nothing in the room except that rectangle statue. That made me
Yes, the nothingness.
like,
In the original script, there was a silver ball, and I guess they couldn't get a silver ball, which I did not know until I stepped on set. And I see the office for the first time, and we're about to shoot. Like, they just took me from the base camp area where everyone was doing hair and makeup and wardrobe, but they drive me over to the office building that we're shooting at. This was my first day on set. I hadn't met anybody like yet besides in the casting office. And I met a couple people at the read-through, so I had met Jordan. So I walk in, and I'm like, okay, going over my lines and like, don't mess up. whatever you do, don't suck. Okay. So that's my pep talk to myself. And I walk in and I was like, oh my gosh, because I was supposed to walk over, like, take this silver ball, for example,
Yeah.
and there was not a silver ball. And so when we did the rehearsal, I was like, there's silver ball? And they were like, oh no, okay. And so Sarah and she rewrote it essentially. She made up the line about the pillar. So we went back and forth with Lincoln, one of the producers, and Matthew, and me and her sitting there going, what should I say about this pillar, this sculpture? And as if I wasn't already nervous about my lines, now I have totally new lines that I don't have yet because we're still thinking of them. And I'm like, But it ended up being, it worked. She thought it was something funny. I said, it's like a little table, but nothing will ever go on it, whatever.
Yeah.
She thought that up on the spot. Sarah's so clever. And as soon as she said it, I was like, I get it. I'll do it ridiculous. I'll make it ridiculous. So
I'm glad that there was no silver ball, because that would have made it seem like a little more of a legit sculpture.
Right. It was more funny that they couldn't get a silver ball. You're right.
It was so funny.
It was that table. I literally was waiting for them to bring the silver ball and set it on the table. And they could not find a silver ball. I'm not really sure the story behind the silver ball, but did not get there. And then we just had this table that we're like, well, we got to think of something to say about it. But you're right. It made it more ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't even a table. It was just like, it was just like a rectangle. It was
a rectangle.
It was so funny. And Jordan,
like, Marta thought this.
Best. I loved it. You did
like,
a great job.
Totally enamored by this. Like, I was like, she sees this. She bought this at like an art gallery. She hunted all over town and she stumbled upon this and paid thousands of dollars for it. And she thinks the artist is brilliant. She's totally sold on why this pillar is amazing. It's art, minimalist art.
It kind of reminded me of the in the Hudsucker Proxy. Have you ever seen that movie? But so he's like an inventor, and he goes to all of these people and he's like, and he shows them a picture of a circle and he's like, it's the next great idea, every kid will want one. And all the people are like, it's a circle, and it's really a hula hoop. That's kind of the joke. It's like, he's so excited about this.
That's funny. That's a great idea. That's right. You never know what that pillar is going to be. It's going to be something big someday, just like the hula hoop. Everyone makes fun of Marta, but she's got ideas.
Yeah, that's right. Hey, she's going to New York or whatever at the end. I mean, she's big.
So funny. A buddy of mine is a writer, and he's like, I need to write Minimalist in the City, the Marta sequel.
Oh my
Marta
gosh.
She would freak out in New York because nothing's minimal in New York. She'd be like, there's so many people. There's so many cars.
Oh my gosh. I would freak out if we got a Marta romance.
Marta tries to minimize New York or just something. I don't even know.
Designing New York without Marta, finding love in the big city. It would be the best. I would
play Marta all day, every day. I enjoyed her so much.
We need to start a Kickstarter right now.
Yes, let's donate to that fund. You have seen enough movies. You could write something amazing. That would be great. I'm totally on board, 100%.
Okay. All right, let's do it.
If we can do that Christmas time, even better.
Yeah. Yes. It would be so funny. I would love it. But I just thought I was laughing so hard. I thought it was great. And I loved the fact that he kept getting these plants and you were so irritated by these plants.
Yes.
We were really the whole aesthetic.
Like, what's that? What is that? Yeah, it's like she's so, but she's trying to like keep it together when really she just wants to smack the plant. Why? Yeah. Why are you ruining everything?
Yeah.
He doesn't get it. He doesn't understand me.
He's like, don't touch my plants. Leave them alone.
Yeah, every time when I watched the final film, every time Sarah's character was like, oh yeah, it's a little sparse in here. Like her comments when she brought him the plants made me laugh every time.
Yeah.
I was like, it's good. It's such a good like bit.
Yeah. It was It's so
between
funny.
the three characters. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was fun.
She was so disgusted by it. And he's like,
Like, ew.
leave, leave my plants out of this.
Yes.
I don't know. It was great. And
Taking
yeah,
away from the sculpture. It's like a little table, but no plants or anything on it ever.
so yes, and so the elevator scene, of course, is towards the end. You said it was a lot longer in the original draft.
The scene that so we have a breakup scene. It was originally written to be a very like clean breakup, and that happened in the restaurant when he shows me the news article on his
Oh,
iPad.
right.
And I say like, well, you're taking away their garden or whatever that like dialogue. So it was actually a bit, but they cut everything for time. They have to
Yeah,
fit it in short. I mean, it's a lot. They have to tighten everything up. So
sure.
it's just something that happens. But that breakup scene ended up being much longer. We had a mutual like, this isn't working anymore. Um,
Yeah, did they have a breakup scene at all? Because I remember
they
he's like,
they
"Oh,
didn't.
we're not together," and I was like, "What? We missed a Marta breakup scene." I was furious. I remember tweeting
Yes, the
that.
breakup scene was really good too. She was also really very funny in that. It was also
Yeah.
Marta break with someone also funny. I think it was stuff like, I just need to minimize everything right now, and I'm sorry to with you. Like all of like she's minimizing him, like she's minimizing her life, and that
Yeah,
includes her relationships. It was also funny, but
that's
yeah, I think that was lost on a lot of people after the final edit was done, because a lot of my friends and family that watched it were like, "Wait, when did you break up?" And I
yeah.
was like, "Yeah." So they cut it for time, but
That's too
um,
bad.
and I know it would have been good to have a more clean breakup, so it was more like romantic when he was pursuing her.
Right. Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I think they got the gist of it. It
Yeah.
wasn't working out between Martha. They obviously had different takes on life. He likes
Yeah.
plants and living things, and she likes it to be bare and
Right.
cold.
Yeah. And so yeah, the scene outside of the elevator, yeah, it wasn't a breakup scene. It was just like a goodbye scene, I guess you might say.
Yeah. So whenever I come back to tell him
Yeah.
about my sequel, Marta in the City, that I'm moving to New York, that was that was a fun scene. That was an interesting scene. So those were live elevators in a real
Yeah.
building with real office people. So we
Oh,
had the floor of an office. We had the whole floor to ourselves that we were shooting on, but the elevators were still taking people to their offices. So they thought they had been able to stop the elevator, and then I guess someone hit a button or something wasn't stopped that should have been stopped. So we were in the middle of shooting, and it dropped us down in the elevator and back up. We had a lot of there was some elevator drama.
oh,
And I
that's
remember
funny.
we popped out. So we dropped one floor down, and this was when like I'm leaving and Sarah's coming in. There was one part where she's sneaking into his office. So she and I were in the elevator with one of the production assistants, and something ended up happening, and we ended up dropping. Like we thought the doors were just going to bounce open and we were going to step out, but we ended up bouncing down, like dropping like a floor, not dropping like Tower of Terror, but like going down a
Yeah.
floor, and the doors open and this woman is standing there. She had hit the button, I guess. She's just trying to leave for work. And we're standing in there. We're like, no, you can't, wait. And she's like, oh, why are like people stopping her? She doesn't know what's going on. And then she hit the button again right away. So we were trying to go back up, and it opened again. And we're still standing there telling her like, sorry, we're shooting, like we're all talking at once. We're shooting a film up there. You can't get in the elevator. Can you wait 1 second before you hit the button? She's just like, oh, what's happening right now?
Oh, that's funny.
So I know. So she'll probably see a news thing later and go, oh, they were shooting a movie in the building. She's like, there were a bunch of weirdos that wouldn't let me in an elevator for some reason.
Yeah.
So
That's funny. Interesting.
yes, there's always fun on set. And one time some guy we were in the middle of a scene, and it had nothing to do with the elevators, but the elevator doors open and there's some dude just standing there who's looking out into like a sea of lights and crew and camera, and he's just like blink blink. He looked like a deer in the headlights. He's like and then the like doors close and he disappears because he's like wrong floor. I don't know, but yes, we surprised a lot of the workers in the building, so that was obviously fun to do.
That's funny.
They'll
Yeah.
get more used to it, I guess, if they keep shooting films in St. Pete. They'll be like, oh, you're right. In LA, if that happens in LA when you're leaving work in an elevator, it's probably not a surprise because there's cameras all around all the time because we're filming stuff. But I guess not as much in St. Pete. So that was just a little fun tidbit. But we got the elevators working and made it happen.
Well, it looked like you had a lot of fun with Jordan, and I think you guys had a pretty nice chemistry there. That must have been fun to work with.
Yes, he was super sweet, and yeah, he was really good about. We were trying to, and we didn't end up using the breakup scene, but we're like, well, how do they break up, and where are they in the relationship? We were kind of working through that a bit, but yeah, he was great. He was great to work with. So was Sarah. Everyone was just very sweet and like welcoming, because we're like the newbies on the block. But and they just seem to like appreciate, the Florida gang and just giving us like so many compliments to just the cast and crew. And so yeah, I think that is obviously good for business for Florida. Be like, look, there's good actors here and good crew.
Yeah.
Come shoot in Florida.
It was really fun. Well, we like to end our interviews with what we call the Team Beat questions, which Amber found in an old issue of Team Beat, and they're just really fun, silly questions. So,
okay.
All right. First question. What is the best ice cream flavor?
I'm sorry?
What is the best ice cream flavor?
The best ice cream flavor. So we have an ice cream chain here called Publix. Not an ice cream chain, it's a grocery store called Publix. And they make Publix brand Moose Tracks. Oh. So they have it's vanilla ice cream with fudge swirls and peanut butter cups in it. And it's amazing. And I douse it with Reese's hard shell topping. So it's like this, it's a peanut butter chocolate fudge that freezes and gets crunchy on top of the ice cream. So that, my friends, is by far the best ice cream flavor. Also cookie dough.
That sounds delicious. Okay, good. All right, what's your favorite color?
Green.
Very on brand. That's good. Very Hallmark. Okay, what music are you into right now?
Music I'm into. I listen to a lot of Christian music and a lot of toddler music because I like kid music, basically kid music and such like that because I have a 4-year-old. So all of that stuff.
Probably just on loop. You have.
Yes. The wheels on the bus, all that kind of stuff.
Very good. Okay. What is your go-to date night food?
My go-to date night food. Well, I'm single, man, so I don't have any date nights. But okay, so if I'm going out on a date, let's just scenario. I'm not ordering ribs because that's too messy.
See, anything you have to eat with your hands. Like I would never order like a burger or a sandwich because that's just.
Yes. And you got to watch the seasonings because sometimes it gets stuck in your teeth. Yeah. You have to think about all of that. Darn it. What do I eat?
You are just like me in that way. I'm like, I want a piece of chicken or steak. If he gets steak, then you're like, ooh, he's really interested. This is nice. Piece of steak or chicken and like broccoli on the side. That's perfect.
Yes. Keep it simple, not too many sauces. No. I do like to eat salads, but sometimes they like take too long, because you want to be able to talk. Sometimes it's like a lot of chewing, a lot of salad eating. So
yes. And sometimes those lettuce pieces are really big and you're like,
exactly. I always try to cut it. You have to be as graceful as possible. Make them think you're a lady until later on. And then you're like, this is how I really eat. And then you enter the ribs and everything and scare them away. Right. Back to how I'm single. No, I'm just kidding.
That's so funny. All right. What is your go-to date night activity? Your favorite thing to do?
Okay. So something active. I like to do, I don't know, like what I would be like, that'd be an awesome date would be like rock climbing, like indoor rock climbing or kayaking or like a dinner and a movie are also good. If it's a first date, you want to be able to talk. So maybe not the movie the whole time.
No.
But like something active, even laser tag I'm on board with. I'm a little bit of a tomboy in that way. Yeah, something fun and sporty. Those are what I think are exciting.
Well, if you're gonna do something active, I highly recommend like either ice skating or roller skating, because then if you like fall, you can have like it can be really romantic. It'll be great.
Yes.
But
Oh, I like this.
yeah.
See, that's going to be in the Art in the City movie where we
Yes.
Rockefeller Center.
But,
Except she can't ice skate. I slipped. But what if he can't ice skate or rollerblade or
mhm,
roller skate? So, do they
yeah.
roller skate anymore, or is it just blading the rinks? I don't even know.
Well, there's nothing better in a romantic comedy than when people like happen to just fall on top of each other in like a romantic like they're on the subway or whatever and there's a bump and they just happen to like
Yes,
fall right into each other's arms, look into each other. That's my
that's
favorite.
how every
Hilarious.
good relationship starts.
Yes.
You trip and fall. There is a lot of that. You're right. There's a lot of tripping and
Yeah.
falling in romantic comedies, and then
Yeah.
someone helps them. And I was
So
thinking of the wedding planner, and her shoe gets stuck in the manhole or whatever
yeah,
that thing is,
you're
and he
just
saves her.
accelerating the process when you go to an ice skating or a roller skating venue.
Now that's gonna be my new hangout, and I'm just gonna try tripping and falling into different people and see if I find love.
I think it's a good strategy. but but I do have to say, as far as the dinner and a movie thing, since you mentioned that, see, people do it wrong. It should be movie and dinner. So you think about it. You go to the movie,
Yes.
then you can talk about the movie at dinner.
Yes.
Mhm.
Ah,
Right?
yes.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Then
So
you fill up on popcorn though, and you're not as hungry, but that's okay. Then you can eat something more reasonable and not, pig out.
you could just go to maybe movie and ice cream or something like that.
Yes, yeah. Not a real dinner where you just eat popcorn and ice cream for dinner.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we're
That's
changing the
perfect.
world on the podcast here. This is groundbreaking. But okay, next question is dogs or cats?
I love both, but I am more a dog person. As I'm looking right now at my 100-pound golden retriever,
Oh
Max.
my gosh. Okay,
I
great.
know my whole family is allergic to cats. Otherwise, I'd probably also have a cat. But
Yeah, I'm
you know,
allergic too. So beaches or mountains?
I guess because I grew up, have been in Florida, so I'll say mountains. Not that I don't
Okay.
like beaches, but
Yeah,
I'm just so used to
more of a
beaches.
break.
Oh, it's a tough life.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather be in a fancy dress, dolled up, or at home in your sweats?
Oh, always at home in my. I am in that right now talking to you.
So what is your favorite holiday to celebrate?
Christmas,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it's hard to beat Christmas,
Hard to beat Christmas. It really is.
especially as a Hallmark fan. Okay.
Yes.
And this is a hard question, and you can pick your own, no judgment. What is your favorite Hallmark movie?
Oh.
About those ones you watched
Well,
with
I
your
haven't,
mom.
I have not seen hundreds like you have. So I'm gonna go with True Love Blooms.
Yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you.
It was a good choice. Well, you've been a delight. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed talking with you. And
I think you as well. It was awesome to chat. And I think that, people listening have some at least good new date ideas.
yes.
So you're welcome, everybody. Start tripping and falling on all the men out there. Check for rings first. Absolutely.
And Martin to the city. We're gonna work on it.
Yes.
It's gonna be great.
Yes. To be continued. Marta's story will keep going, God willing.
Yeah. So if people want to follow you on social media, all this stuff, where can they find you?
Yeah, so my handle, my everything is just Amy LoCicero.
Great.
And I think my Twitter is Amy LoCicero 1 because I couldn't get Amy LoCicero on Twitter.
Oh,
But yeah, so AMYLOCICERO, all scrunched together one word. So it's that for Facebook and for Twitter with the 1 at the end. And my Instagram is just Amy LoCicero also.
great. Well, I'll have all that in the description section. Everybody should follow you on social media, and it'll be really fun. And so thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And everybody can follow me at Rachel's Reviews all over social media and iTunes and YouTube. And make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod all over social media and on iTunes and YouTube. If you can give us your ratings and reviews on iTunes, we really appreciate it. And if you're listening on YouTube, if you can give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, we really appreciate that as well. So thanks so much, Amy. This was so much fun. And we'll definitely, hopefully, have you on again another time.
Awesome. I'd love to be back.
Okay.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.